well and be brilliant. Today, more than ever, humanity needs you.
I don't know what to say. I actually am lost for words.
You don't have a right to not be vulnerable and authentic. Your number one currency in life is to have an impact on someone else.
Like, you have blown me away to the other side of the world, and I don't know how I'm going to get back.
Because if you lead with your humanity, you elevate theirs.
I am so grateful that the universe connected me with you, because this has been a game changer for me.
If you lead a doubt-filled life, you'll lead a bound-up life. Live a doubtless life and you'll lead a boundless life.
This has just been the most extraordinary experience of my entire life.
Leadership is in the form of your brand, and in today's brand, it's your vulnerability, your ability to be authentic, your ability to be seen.
Because you're just a game changer. I've just never met anyone like you.
Your ability, as I say, to live your eulogy, not wait for someone to mourn you after you've gone.
And boom, we are live. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Inspiring Insights with Stephen DeSade, the live experience with Stephen DeSade. My name is Peter Clark, Red TV. And I want to welcome, of course, our fabulous guest. You can call him guest host. He's the guy. He's why we're here. Stephen DeSade in Sydney, Australia. How are you, my friend?
The highlight of my week is the boom. Just as simple as that. Everyone knows that. The boom.
Hey, well,
thanks to the guests in the green room, those that have got up at 1 a.m. Thank you, bless you, and thanks for everyone else who's tuned in. I appreciate it, and always thanks, Pete. This is what it is because of you, buddy. I just get to dance on the whiteboard.
Thank you. Hey, this is great, and appreciate everybody watching right now. We of course we are live right now. We are on YouTube and we are on Facebook, and guess what? LinkedIn is that close. It's that close, everybody. It's that close. I have a story to tell. I have a small book that I'm going to release about how to get on LinkedIn Live. It's only 3 months in the making, but it's going to happen, Steve. It's really, really close. So listen, I love what we're going to be talking about today. Listen, I love every time what we're talking about, but today especially because I'm telling everybody now, just so you know, one of my favorite words in the whole wide world is congruency. Congruent, okay? And that just means, for your relationships with people and life and business and all that kind of stuff. So, Stephen, today we're going to be talking about congruency alignment. But first, you want to jump somewhere?
I do. One of the things that's really important is when people give up sleep or they disrupt their rest periods, whether that's Nadia in South Africa, in Cape Town, people are giving up sleep. People are giving up their time. They're giving up money. They're doing something for you to help and serve them, whether it's inspiring, whether it's to give them a product or a service, or whether it's just to smile when you're ordering a coffee. So down on the board, I want to quickly show you something, and then we'll just go through the normal show. Your version of what I'm about to show doesn't have to be at the level that Peter and I are doing. We want to set a benchmark for everyone to follow. Everything about the Sede is your clarity, your confidence, and your creativity. Everything. Your soulful clarity, your heartfelt confidence enables your creativity. And people want 3 things. Whether you're a public speaker, whether you're actually in a product or service-based business, whether you're walking down the street giving the courtesy of a total stranger your polite attention, they want to engage your confidence, they want to engage your content, and they want you to actually engage with them in a competent manner. Now, for everyone, and this is Rashmi, if you want to know from Soul Shifters how much I appreciated your video, is with a soulful clarity, a heartfelt confidence. You sat and shot a video, not in your native language, actually expressing a point of view inside the Soul Shifters community. It was confident, even though it didn't necessarily look like this. It had really engaging, soulful, and heartfelt confidence, and it was very simply and politely presented. So for everyone out there, people want to engage your confidence, engage your content, and they want you to do it in a competent manner. My top tip, my number one takeaway is look at the way people are with confidence putting their content together and competently presenting it, and go find a practitioner who presents to the level you want to aspire to. It doesn't have to look like this. because Rashmi's video doesn't look like this, but I hope every day my videos can have the soulful clarity, the heartfelt confidence, and the creativity of how she touched my heart and many others. It doesn't have to look like this, but go and find someone who competently presents at a level that you're comfortable with. Take your content, take your confidence that's based on the creativity of your soulful clarity and your heartfelt confidence, and go tell the world, here I am.
That's fantastic. That's so important. Message that you just gave there, and I wasn't expecting that. I never expect these things. But to your point, as a content creator myself, your point is well taken. Is that find somebody who's actually doing the things that you want to do. Find a practitioner and then just kind of learn from them, watch what they're doing, have that conversation, read, do your research, all that kind of stuff. So that's really, really great advice. Let's jump to today's all of our we're going to move these things around, everybody. We're trying to make this a little bit more engaging, a little bit more interactive, and here we go. I'm going to add,
and the other thing we're trying to do, everyone, is the level of content that we create after the show. So what Peter and I are trying to do is to create a way that the show's presented live that's engaging for you, but we're also trying to create it in a way that we can actually cut up the content and distribute it and make a difference in people's lives. So this is something new that we're trying today, so bear with us. I'm sure it'll be fine. Every week we talk about a particular subject. This is, again, Peter asked me to speak on this and asked me my interpretation on it. So congruency alignment. Congruency is the quality of being agreeable and appropriate. And alignment is to adjust until right, correct, and in place. So congruency alignment is the appropriate balance of refined discipline. Just hold there for a sec, Pete. The reason in the Sede Angels, hi girls, the Sede Angels always see all of these presentations, and they thought, is that the most appropriate image, Steve? I had the privilege of actually seeing some ballet, not that it's my thing, but I was able to watch some professional ballet in Vienna at the Opera House many years ago. And the balance and the refined discipline that those artists and athletes, because that's what they are, was the reason I picked that image out, even though for some it might seem a little bit provocative and it's not that intended. How much balance and how much discipline do you need to do what those two people are doing? And they do it for a 2-hour performance. It's astonishing. So Peter said to me last week, how do you have an appropriate balance or a refined discipline about your mind, your voice, your heart, your wallet, and your feet? So I thought about that and thought, well, your mind is your creativity, and it's either driven by sentiment or ego. Your voice is your expression. It's either driven by kindness or anger. Your heart is your intuition, and it's either driven by love or detachment. And for those of us that have fallen in and out of love, we know what that means. Your wallet is your possessions, and it's either driven by wealth or riches. And your feet is your progression. It's either driven by momentum or motion. The momentum of wanting to make a difference in someone else's life by understanding how to make a difference in yours, or the motion of the chase for vanity of likes, comments, shares. It's one of those two. So the balance of discipline across your life is your creative sentiment, your expressive kindness, your intuitive love, your wealth possession, and your momentous progress, or are you running on the coattails of ego, anger, detachment, riches, and motion? And I know these are all high-level words, but just think of that. In your life every day, what is your creative sentiment? What is your expressive kindness? What is your intuitive love? What is your wealth possession? What is your momentous progress? Or do the words anger, do the words ego and anger and detachment and riches and motion for the vanity of approval from someone else, are they the things that seem to resonate as the companions of your journey through life? So here's some questions for you in our little Sede takeouts with our cup. How much discipline and balance do you have in your life based on what I just said about those two sets of words? Number 2, is your voice and heart present in your momentum? Your momentum to actually give someone the courtesy of hello, even if there's nothing back except a smile. And sometimes they don't even do that. And number 3, choose wealth or riches. If you could choose wealth or riches, which would it be? So how much discipline and balance do you have? Is your voice and heart present in your momentum? And if you could choose between rich or wealthy, which would you choose? Because there's a difference between being rich in the wallet and wealthy in your soul. Congruency alignment, Peter.
Oh, man, I just love this. I love this subject. I told you this before. It's my favorite word. I love the idea of, again, I want my mind, my mouth, my heart, my wallet and feet all moving in the same direction. It's very difficult to do. And I'm not suggesting that I have it down by any stretch, but boy, when I see incongruency in behavior with either business partners or relationships that I have or whatever, wow, it strikes me in my core. It strikes me in my core. I don't know what that is. Obviously, I just admit it right there. I guess that I'm judging somebody at that moment in time. But the truth is when actions and words aren't congruent with each other, man, it just.
Hey, can you put the slides back up and keep you and I on the board and keep talking? And I think it's the second slide.
Yeah, let me go back and see what we.
Hang with us for a sec, everyone. No, go third one. Right. Go one more.
And we just want to finish up the whole one. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, keep them all on there. Okay, cool. Peter, if you listen to what Peter's words are right now about is my mind and my voice, my heart and my wallet and my feet, one of the things that I want to do is your mind, your voice, your heart, your wallet and feet are very physical things. And Peter's describing, quite rightly, the physicality of how you reflect on what you do. But when I start talking about creativity, expression, intuition, and those types of words, sentiment, kindness, love, wealth, momentum, those are the battery pack for how you use this thing called your body. So your emotional battery pack is sentiment or ego. Your emotional battery pack is kindness or anger. Your emotional battery pack is love or detachment. Your emotional battery pack is either wealth or riches. Your emotional battery pack is either momentum or motion. You will charge your body and therefore influence its movement and its expression based on whether it's sentiment, kindness, love, wealth, or momentum, or the others. And what Peter's talking about is the physicality of the movement of your body is driven by those words of sentiment, kindness, love, wealth, and momentum.
Absolutely. And again, some of the things that we were just talking about right there, again, I use them metaphorically as well. So to your point, absolutely. I mean, the physicality of everything I'm referring to, it obviously applies to the concept of when you're working with someone. And so I'll bring it, you bring it down to the street level. It's like when you, again, one of my favorite phrases is watch what people do. They'll tell you who they are. Yeah. So when you watch what people say and then you watch their actions and they're not congruent, it's like, I have to, it's something that strikes me immediately. And I think people can resonate with that. That's why today I love the idea that you're digging into a little bit with that.
Well, thanks for asking me to. Pete, bounce on the board for a sec.
Fantastic.
Pete just mentioned one of his favorite quotes, which he just mentioned. One of the things Peter said 2 or 3 shows back, he said the concept of you've got a choice in life. You can either be kind or right. Always choose kind. One of the most powerful things, Peter, of many, many things that he's said, both on the show and in the many hours we spend together privately, setting all kinds of different things up. Peter often says to me, Steve, you have a choice to be the kind or right. Choose kind. And sometimes you have to choose kind, even though you're right. Sometimes you have to do that. And I think that's, to me, Pete, that's probably the most powerful thing you say, even though I respect what you just said. Everyone, how much choice on a daily and momentum and on a moment by moment basis are you choosing kind over being right? Because this is heart and soul. This is ego.
That is so true. And just to be really, really clear for everybody, just be really, really clear. I'm pretty sure that I heard that from, a number of sources, but I think in my brain, I give it to Dr. Wayne Dyer, if anyone's wondering where I might have picked that up from. But I listen to so many different people. I'm always trying to absorb new ideas and so on. And so again, talking about congruency alignment today, and appreciate you running through that. Like you said, mind, voice, heart, wallet, feet, all moving in the same direction. Now, we have guests in the room. Let's bring some guests into the conversation here. And again, in most cases, in this particular case, again, I do not know what the question is, nor does Stephen, which is the whole point of this show is that we want to bring people on to have that experience, the live experience with Stephen Sede. And so we have 2 guests right now. We had 3 booked. We're hoping the other guest is going to join us, everybody. But we certainly have 2 amazing people with us today. So I think right now we're going to go to the United States of America. Let's go to the United States of America. And we have Jairus. Jairus, do you see me, my friend? There he is. I'm going to bring it. There he is. Jairus, how are you?
There he is.
I'm doing great. How are y'all?
Good to see you, my friend.
Doing well.
Man, but I'm going to have to look at the cool outfit.
Look at this,
dude. I love it, mate. I love it.
I thought
I appreciate that, y'all.
Man, you rock star, man. You killed it. You killing that.
This was a gift from my friends in India, so I just wanted to put it on for the night.
Oh, man, you're looking good.
Buddy.
Looking good.
Appreciate that.
So, Jairus, where are you calling in from?
Danville, Virginia.
Danville, Virginia. Kind of give us where that generally is. If I was to go into the airport, the main airport, main city.
Go to the main airport. It's on the East Coast. It's middle between New York and Florida. We're right in the middle on the East Coast.
Well, I know that. I know where Virginia is. I mean, that's great. Listen, good to see you. I'll leave you with Stephen with your question. Go ahead.
At least it's not nowhere USA, Peter. But still, Michael was cracking last week. How are you, buddy? How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm actually doing great.
Thanks for doing this. I appreciate it. What are we talking about?
Today, I have a question for you.
Okay.
This is something that I've been battling with for a long time, right? How does a person with high self-confidence deal with sticking to a decision once it's been made?
Expand. I know what you mean.
Let's stay on
story about that a bit. Don't explain the question. Don't explain the question. Explain what's around the question. I understand.
What I mean is, with me, I battle with dealing with people and situations, some that may not be beneficial for me. Let's say I'm dealing with an employee and I may feel like, okay, it's time to let this person go, right? So they may do something and I'll be like, all right, I'm going to leave this person alone. And tomorrow I say, I'll give them another chance. And it just keeps going on. This is me in just about everything I do in my life. I can say, all right, I'm going to go. Then I say, all right, I don't want to go. And it's just like, I don't know, it seems like I'm always battling with sticking to making a decision.
But you're the one with high confidence, right?
Yes, sir.
So you have high confidence, but you struggle with the concept of keeping with the decision.
Yes.
Okay. What do you have a high confidence in?
I have a high confidence in the fact that I will make the right decision. I have a high confidence in self-belief, but it's like, when it comes time to do it, I say, okay, well, I'm going to give this person one more chance. Even if they did something where I know, all right, this person should be let go. I don't know if I'm seeing something in individuals that makes me want to give them another chance, but it just seems like I'm just battling with making the decisions on time and just sticking to them.
Okay, cool. When I asked you what your self-confidence was good at, you actually told me your decisions, which is choice. You told me about your decision, which is execution. And then halfway through answering the question, you dropped down and started talking about them. And when you talked about them, all of a sudden, these words of decision and choice switched off. The words of belief and execution switched off. Because when it comes to you have a high confidence in your ability to decide, which is choose, and your ability to believe, which is to execute the outcome. And outcome is literally equals focus. So your outcome is what you focus on, and your focus is the choice you've made and the execution that you believe in to make that come true. Give yourself a big tick. But when it comes down to here, and we're now talking about them, all of a sudden, halfway through, your answer to me is what are you self-confident about? Got disconnected on the journey down here. There was like a roadblock or traffic block, and your self-confidence for the outcome and your belief and decision about them switched off. It didn't switch off, but it actually stopped. And it was at an intersection with no traffic lights and no way of driving from one side to the other. So all of a sudden you stop. So a lot of what you're talking about is your focus on the execution of what you've chosen by the decisions and belief in your ability to get it done is very high with you, but your outcome for others is what's missing. And because you can't find anyone with the confidence of decision and belief that you have, you all of a sudden get to a crossroad and go, what do I do with them? So your answer is actually in here. Steve, what do I do with the people who can't keep up with me? And what was my opening remarks on on the show? Don't try and emulate what I'm doing. If you can, good. If you want to get your version of Peter Clark, good luck with finding him. But if you want to put lights up and do all the stuff that I do, great. But do what you are able to do. So let's drill down on that and get some sort of creativity around it. Because the great thing about your confidence is your decision and choice, your belief and execution, because you've made a decision on the focused outcome of what you're going to do, Jarrett. Congratulations. But leadership doesn't come in the form of, I can do it. If you can't do it, get out. That's not leadership. It's poor management. So let's talk about how you take your ability to choose decisively and execute with rock solid belief on a focused outcome. How do we now help other people to do that? This whole business of other people, are you a manager, a leader, you're running your own business? Where is that coming from in the context? We're down here now, buddy. We're going to stay down here for the next few minutes because I don't need to help you up here because you're rock solid on this. But right now, you're a decisive, highly confident executor of what you focus in, but you haven't mastered the art of leadership in the people who probably look up to, guess what, that level of output. And if you can't get people to follow you, you're not a leader, you're just a manager that no one can relate to. So what role are you doing? Are you running your own business? Are you a manager in a company, in a faith position? Tell me some context of where these people are, and then we'll build out
all of the above. Manager, leader, friend, everyone as you said, I wear every one of those hats.
Okay, cool. Let's do it this way then. Think of 3 people. Give me their names. I don't need their full names. I just want to personalize this for a second. Give me 3 names of people. Just first name. I don't need any more detail. And Jenny, Tony, what is it? Just give me 3 names of people that you really, really want to help. Just first names.
Naya.
Yeah, and, doesn't have to, and you don't have to use your real names, just by the way. I know you're hesitating there. Just make up.
Yeah, I was.
Make up 3 names, but know who they are. Thank you, Peter. Appreciate that. Well done, buddy.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Peter. Let's go with Jenny.
Yep.
Frank.
Yep.
And Tanya.
Cool. Thanks a lot, Peter. I really appreciate that. Thanks, buddy. Okay, you know who those people are because we want to make sure that you're heartfelt about how you can help them. Because the fact that you've come on and asked me, and you've probably seen enough of the show to know that I'm going to dig deep to try and get a solution for you, that you obviously care about these people.
Yes, sir.
What do they want? What is their outcome? So we're going to call them J, F, and T. What is their heartfelt outcome? What is it? Do you know?
Not necessarily. I could assume that their heartfelt outcome is to better themselves.
Why are they in a company of you?
They are in a company of me because they are learning from me, and I'm somebody whom is just in their lives at a particular time that may be able to help them cross certain things that they're dealing with in their lives.
Okay. So number one, it's fair to say that Jenny, Frank, and Tanya, or JF and T we'll call them, they admire who you are. Would you say that's yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. They have a certain sense of they follow in some way your words, your leadership, your guidance, the manner with which you conduct yourself. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. And I would suspect they're obviously looking for you for some type of guidance. Here's the kicker, buddy. What are they looking for guidance in? Top tip. Read out number one. Read out number 1 and 2, buddy. What are they seeking guidance in you for? What's number 1?
Okay. Admire, follow.
Yeah.
Exactly. I got you.
If you admire someone and you follow someone, the first thing you want to do, why do people, we don't book the show, it's getting booked out for us. People are booking people on the show. We're not out there going, hey, do you want to come on the show? It's just happening. There's some people who are getting invitations through comments and stuff. Everyone, this is a gift from Jairus, inspired by his question for everyone. If people are admiring you in your life and they're following you in their life, don't be surprised if they want you to give them some type of process, A, B, C, on how you can help them do what they admire in you. So everyone wanted to know how Steve Jobs did those amazing presentations, so they wrote books about it. Everyone wants to know who are that way inclined about Elon Musk's determination and his just complete focus on what he's trying to do, whether you like the guy or not. Everyone admire and wants to follow Richard Branson's way of what he does. Everyone admired and followed the way Nelson Mandela conducted the way he was. Jairus, people are admiring and following you, and they want you to guide them on how you're doing it. And the trouble is, you've made a decision up here on what your outcome is, and you're trying to get them to do it. And your outcome might be to be a better leader. And Jenny, she just wants her children to admire her. She just wants to have that little step-by-step process that you seem to do in your highly confident choice and execution. She just wants her kids to admire her. Frank, for example, he wants people to follow who he truly is, and he loves the way you go about what you do in that area of faith. And Frank just wants to understand how I can get people to follow my faith, because how do I follow it? How do you do it? So everyone listening, whatever people admire and whatever people are following you for or associating, you can change that word for associating, they're going to then want to know, hey, one of the most common questions I get is, Steve, how come you're so natural on video? Hey, Steve, they don't ask me about how to post on Instagram. They don't ask me about how to do lighting. Steve, how can you just be so natural on video? How are you doing it? Hey, Steve, how can I be inspiring? Hey, Steve, how do I get clarity so I can help people? Because guess what? People see inspiring insights, which is what people put on my comments. So the first thing that you need to do, buddy, is you need to start modeling a step-by-step process that if you want to have the ability to make good choices, this is how I do it. And you start teaching people to learn about what they admire in you. I think the problem with yourself at the moment, and this is said respectfully, my friend, but I'm going to your question, you're so decisive and you're so strong in belief and you've got such a focused outcome that if these people up down here can't do it at the same level as you do, you go, Steve, what do I do with these people who can't keep up? No disrespect, buddy, and this is said with lots of love to you. If I had the same attitude, and I'm being a little bullish, but I'm doing this respectfully, because I think you've got a huge heart, and if people admire and follow you, I haven't got time to let you miss the opportunity to guide them. So one of the first things that you need to do is go to Jenny, to Frank, and to Tanya and ask them this question. If there was, and you can time code this, Angels, at 28:16. If there was one thing I could do for you, Jenny, Frank, Tanya, what would you like it to be? If there was one thing I could do for you, what would you like it to be? Ask them that question, my friend. And when you do, I guarantee it'll be something around here. And when they give you that answer, guess what? That's your first step. Then go to Frank and ask the same question. Next step. And then all of a sudden, she might say, I need to have a stronger faith. I need to have a stronger vision. I need to be more confident. And then, let me do my ABCs here with red. So this is step one of your homework assignment, my friend. Number one, go and ask these people, if I could do one thing for you, what would it be? Number two, whatever their their A, B, C answer is, I want you to sit down over a coffee or tea or whatever your fancy is and go, how do I do it? How do I do it? How do I do faith? How do I do vision? How do I do confidence? How do I do it? And now all of a sudden, with the decisiveness and the belief in your focus, you're going to teach people how to have faith. You're going to teach people how to have vision. You're going to teach people how to have confidence because they admire you. They follow you. Give them something to follow instead of your indifference that they can't keep up. It sounds like I'm being bullish, buddy. I don't. I love you to bits, but inside of Soul Shifters, you'll see how I do this.
And I love it because I'm somebody you have to be straight up for. You have to put it to me because I catch on very quickly, and everything you said absolutely makes perfect sense.
Yep, cool. Pete, have I got a couple of minutes more?
Absolutely, my friend. And Jairus, to Stephen, I'm just picking up on some of the things, I chatted with you briefly in the green room, so on. I mean, you got an amazing personality, right? That, right? You're very charismatic. You have a natural charisma to you. When you first came on and we got you brought on, a big smile and really, so, that's people obviously will gravitate, or they do gravitate to you. There's no doubt in my mind. So everything that Stephen just threw out there, the advantage you have, I believe, is that you have a natural charisma that people enjoy being around. It's really tough to be, I know as an employee that has to, answer to someone they actually really don't like. But I'm going to guess that, you're a pretty likable person, which means that if you have that already, man, you're way ahead of the game. So I just want to mention that to you because I feel your energy. I think there's a real positive, cool vibe that you got going on, and it's going to work in your advantage. It really, really is.
Appreciate that.
So one of the things we're going to do really quickly, and Pete, the reason I came to you is just in case our other guest has arrived, and if they haven't, then we can be a little bit more generous in our time with two guests rather than three, which is cool. One of the things I want to talk to you about. Every human being on the planet is driven by three things. Why we learn. We want to avoid pain, we want to gain pleasure, and we want to understand how to do it. And unfortunately, in the world we live in, we're in a fear-based culture, so everyone's trying to avoid pain, and they do that through their obsession with pleasure, comfort, and entertainment. And then a few people actually do it. Okay, sorry, I'm looking at messages on the board. Sorry, everyone. I'm just very conscious I'm happy to go longer with you, Jairus, as long as we're not going to ambush the rest of the guests, which we're not. So pardon me for being slightly distracted. Every single person is trying to avoid some pain, gain some pleasure, and learn how to do one or the other. And most people's gain is an addiction to pleasure, comfort, and entertainment. So most people's hassle with COVID and lockdown was it was the restriction of human beings wanting to cluster in a herd, but it was also the inability to go out and pleasure, comfort, and entertainment and kick up their feet on a Friday night, because Friday night is the big night for 98% of the population and Monday is the devastation. And it should be the other way around. So what I'm going to do is what I call an exit to entry strategy. Exit to entry. There's going to be more stuff and some more training for all the soul shifters inside of the collective group on how we actually do this, but I'll do it now because we've got some extra time. We said that Jenny had no confidence. Remember what I just said in terms of the sequence. Go and ask Jenny what she wants. I haven't got any confidence, and you've got so much confidence, which you admitted that you do, and Peter's just endorsed that, and I totally agree. So Jenny's got the pain of no confidence, and Jenny wants to have soulful confidence, and she's looking to you, the big J, to help her to do it. So the first thing I want you to do is actually ask yourself, what is it that I do that makes me confident? What is it I do in terms of two things? Mentally and physically and spiritually. What is it that I do? Spirit, there you go, we'll do that one. So I don't have any confidence. So ask yourself, as someone who is confident mentally, physically, and spiritually, what are your routines of what you do? And when you go here, you break this one out into, I asked, what is it that I do in terms of I ask myself, well, the first thing I do is I do this, I do this, I do this, which enables me to have confidence. So what happens, this breaks out into, what did I do? I've got that. Mentally, what we'll do physically. What do I do? Well, each morning I wake up at 5 a.m. I wake up, I get up, I go for a walk, I meditate, and I go from my mental state of being asleep to 5 a.m. to physically to 5 a.m. to walking to getting into a good state to meditating. So I've now set myself up. So by 6 a.m., I've got a physical confidence in my body. So everything you want to do is you draw out one of these. I haven't got something. I want something. What are the steps in between of what I've got to do? So Frank rolls up and he says, I want to have faith. I have no faith, Big J. I want faith, Big J. And I want your version of it because I admire you for it based on what we talked about earlier. So what you'd ask, how is it that I go about creating faith? What are the things that I do? And then once you've done that, you've then got a step-by-step process of how you were doing it. For all of the soul shifters and everyone who's so kind in their admiration of the way I can do this so quickly, everything I do is, what is your pain? What are you trying to achieve? And this is how you do it. And I'm doing this very quickly, everyone. Jairus, there'll be more content on this. But let's go to Frank. Frank, you go and ask the question, Frank, what is it that you need from me? Everyone, what is it that you want in your business? What is it that what is the experience of you in your business? Go and ask your top 3 customers. Go and ask the most loyal people in your life. What is it about me that has an impact on you? And put the word down there and then say, I have no faith. I want faith. And go back to when you didn't have your self-confidence. What did you do to get it? And then in that how-to guide, go share that with the world, and people will go, you're inspiring and you're amazing. And all I'm doing is, what is your pain, big guy? What is your gain, big guy? This is how you do it, big guy. And Peter's right. Your ability to influence people, the only thing that's missing is you can't work out how they can't keep up with you. And the reason they can't keep up with you, my friend, you haven't shown them how to yet. Pete.
Oh wow! Jairus, did you get that? Did you feel it?
Yes,
did you feel the boom? I think the boom was laid down.
Felt the boom. I felt it. I needed that boom. Thank you so much.
There's more of this coming in Soul Shifters in the collective group, buddy, which I know I've done that quickly, but there's more of that coming. But that gives you an idea. So summary, Go and ask those 3 people what it is they want from you. Cool. Number 2, whatever they say it is, go, Jairus, I never had faith. Now I've got it. What did I do to get it? I never had confidence. What did I do? When I didn't have it, what did I do to get it? And do exit to entry on each one. And the steps of what you did to get it is your answer back to Frank and Jenny and Tanya. And your answer back is the guide they're craving from you. Pete.
Fantastic. Jairus, man, I saw you taking notes, man. I saw you taking notes.
Yeah.
And of course, you can always revisit this video and screen capture some of these things and so on. And of course, you can always stay in touch with Stephen. We're going to jump to another guest, but Jairus, stay in the green room with us because we're going to come back to you in a little bit, okay? And I so appreciate you being a great question, by the way. Great question, because now, of course, during COVID times, people, need jobs. Everyone's under stress. Leaders need to step up more and more than ever. You're in a leadership role. You're trying to figure out, things that are happening under the umbrella of people being so stressed out with COVID and everything else. So, man, you got your hands full. So be gentle with yourself, brother. Be gentle.
Hey, can I just say something? I need to talk to the angels for a sec. Jane and Lou, what I need you to do is time code what we've just done. So what we're going to do from now on, tell everyone this, but you're hearing a bit of admin insider to Sede land. Each one of these sections we're going to cut out because, yes, it's inside of the overall hour of the YouTube live show. Jane, we're going to cut each of the guests out and we're going to load it as an individual video onto YouTube, and then we're going to link that video inside the collective. So you don't have to go and watch the whole thing. Those who come on the show get inside the Soul Shifters group. We will take your piece of content and put it on the YouTube unless you tell us not to. And if you don't want us to do that, we'll actually place it inside the collective. So you can literally watch what I just did with you instantly within 24 hours.
I mean, come on. For all the price of free. How cool is that? Jairus, how cool is that?
Yeah, that's very cool.
Stick with us, my friend. Stick with us, my friend. Man, that again, Stephen, I just think it's really important that I know what I picked up from that was the idea. Here's a person in a leadership role, in 2020, just trying to figure some stuff out. And man, we're all struggling. We're all struggling with our own battles. But again, everyone they're under different pressures, different family situations, all that stuff, and he has to figure out all of those things for those individuals. So great guidance that you gave right there. I really appreciate you adding in. I see you doing something there, so I thought I would share it with the world. But Jairus, you did a great job, man. Great job.
Yeah, he did. Leadership, everyone, is guidance. And guidance is formed by people who admire you and want to, guess what? Second one, follow you. So leadership is about guidance, which is people are going to follow you. Now, you've got two choices. You can give or you can get. A lot of people are using leadership and guidance and a following to get the vanity of look how many likes and follows and shares I've got. We in Sede land, I'm hunting for your soul, and I make no apology about it. We are going to give you the ability to lift and shift the heart of humanity. So leadership is about guidance. People are going to follow your guidance. So give them something of clarity, confidence, and creativity, and go watch the human race start realizing we're not as different as we think we are.
Man, oh man, oh man. Does this ever get boring for anybody? I hope not. Because just that. We could spend an hour on that diagram you just.
Well, by the end of this, you're going to ask me to do something about that next week.
Anyway,
so
that's why. See, everybody, this is why I don't say too much. I try not to say anything. As soon as I say a sentence, he's gone off onto another workshop. No, but I love you for it. I think it's an unbelievable skill and gift, and so on. Hey, let's very quickly. And Zara, I know you're in the green room. Zara, God love you. She's over in
Horsham.
She's in UK. It's like 1:45 in the morning over there, or something like that. I mean, it's really close. We'll be with you in two seconds. I just wanted to make sure that we acknowledge some of the people that are watching. Of course, we always like to throw up a couple of things. Hey, Maddie's watching. Maddie O'Keefe, and I love that. It's fantastic. Nadia's here.
That's Cape Town. She's giving up.
That's right. What is she doing up? What are you doing up, Nadia? Go to sleep. God love you. Go to sleep. I love her for it. That's fantastic. Beautiful gentleman.
Oh, he hasn't used the word. It's Kenny. Kenny, you've got to use the word scrumptiously.
Human beings and friends of mine to millions who share goodness. Hey, appreciate that. That is fantastic.
Kenny, legend. Got to come on the show.
Hello, everybody. Soulful clarity to start my day. I love that.
Lou from the Angels. It's Lou from the Angels, buddy.
Soulful clarity. I like that. I really, really like that. There's Rajiv is there. And there's some people talking to. Is that right? Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
Fantastic. Who else?
Well, he's coming on, whether it's next week or not, I don't know.
There's Michael. Hey, Michael, good to see you, my friend. Bullish is great thing. Well, Jairus, just so you know, you still take the silver, and there's nothing wrong with silver. Listen, you win silver. People think but the gold medal so far for Bullish has been Michael. I mean, last week, Stephen, you pushed him. You pushed him. That was fun to watch. It was fun to watch, but it was a fun push, and I know he enjoyed it. And
beautifully with it as well.
So much fun. So true. Jairus is very likable. Yes, that's very true. That's very. See, Jairus, look, right from South Africa.
Nadia,
come on, man.
Nadia would know what likable is.
So there's a few comments there. I just wanted to throw that up and acknowledge everybody. We so appreciate them. Okay, now we got to go across the pond. Well, actually, I don't know if it's across the pond to you. It's a couple ponds for you, Stephen.
It's a fairly hefty stone's throw. Let's just say that.
It's hefty. I love that. And we're going to bring Zara in. So Zara, let's see if Zara, how are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Good to see you. And it's like 1:45. Oh, wow. 1:45 or 1:45
to 2. That's right.
1:45.
1 minute to go. Yeah.
God love you for being here. We so appreciate you being here and being patient and sitting in the green room waiting for us. Where are you again exactly in the UK? Again, just for everybody watching.
I'm in Horsham, West Sussex. So it's half an hour south of Gatwick or an hour south of Heathrow, London. Take your pick.
Got it.
Yes,
right there. Yeah,
I used to live in Caterham.
Oh, it's not too far away from me, actually.
Not. Yeah, and East Grinstead and Turner's Hill and all those places.
Yeah.
It's just
it's nice around there.
This time of the year, it's beautiful. So
Oh, fantastic. Okay, I'm going to leave you with Stephen for your question.
Okay.
thank you so much.
So I'm doing this service leadership model, which is kind of army based, I suppose, for those who are in the know. I do get a little bit confused when you start looking at law of attraction, and also when you focus on the positive and you're chasing something. So when it comes to pricing models, how do you go about that? Because whatever you chase goes away. Whether you chase people, whether you chase money, whether you chase, I don't know, contacts, whatever it is, whatever you chase, it goes away. And it seems to be the other way around, that if you just go with the flow, they come.
Yep.
So when you come to doing your pricing, how do you go about that? Because if you say, I'm going to charge you this amount, you are asking. So would you suggest they leave a contribution? You know, this is where I'm kind of going, how do you go about doing your pricing? It's very confusing. It's quite a complicated scenario. It's like a paradox almost.
Are you married? Do you mind if I ask you if you're married?
I am married, yes.
Okay. Do you mind if, and I'm not going to be disrespectful in my questioning, but when your husband and you first met,
yeah,
how did you fall in love with him?
How did I fall in love with him?
And if this line of question, I'm not going to be disrespectful on this line of questioning, but I want to take this out of your head and ask you about the most beautiful thing in your. And have you got kids?
I've got one child. Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, cool. So let's go all the way back to when some hunky fella saw a beautiful lady wherever he saw you. How did you fall in love with him?
Well, funny enough, we met in a nightclub.
That's all right.
And I was dancing on the dance floor, and I was being harassed by some people, and he kind of rescued me. He said, well, can I buy you a drink? So it was kind of like that. And then we started chatting, and we realized we had quite a lot in common, and we kind of, I guess, became friends to start with. Yeah. So it was let's see, all right, we've got quite a lot in common. And yeah, it was a beautiful friendship straight away.
Okay.
So yeah, nobody went chasing after anybody. It was more like, you know, I want to help you out here.
Yep. Well, he chased a little bit because that's what's supposed to happen. It's the way it's wired. Let's hope so.
He was on the watch out to know that was the opportunity.
Okay, cool. So one of the things is, when you asked me about what, in fact, I won't digress. Let me do this for a second. You had something in common, which created a friendship, which is the opportunity of your relationship together, your marriage together, and now the beautiful son or daughter?
I've got a little boy.
A little boy.
Yeah.
So the opportunity of having a life, the opportunity of having love, the opportunity of having a child, which is the union of your love and your life. Beautiful, fantastic. All of this represents an outcome.
Okay.
And I'm going to go back to outcome. Even though Steve always talks about outcomes. Yeah, cool. Why is it that people used to sleep in the street, and still to a degree sleep in the street to buy an iPhone, when everyone knows there's other phones on the market that are better? Because they created a sense of common community. Why is it that we're creating soul shifters? Why is it that I'm doing what I'm doing right now? Is it to catch people and eventually get people to pay for stuff? No. If you want to go up and start coaching with me one-to-one, if you want to start getting into round tables with me, if you want to buy courses from me, yeah, it will cost. But down at the bottom of my engagement is the community of common interest of people who want to enhance and improve themselves.
Yeah.
To make a friendship of a movement in a community because of the opportunity.
Yeah,
so
and that's what I'm doing. I'm going with a value at the moment. Just to interrupt here, I get approached by other people who tell me I've got a money block. And then it makes me think, and I think, what are they talking about? I'm after a value here. I'm not after money. I'd rather do a like-for-like service at any time when the opportunity presents itself.
Yep.
So when people start talking about money blocks and I don't know, other kind of things, it really throws me. And I do think there are two types here. You know, you've either got this, like you said earlier, you either set your price right to the beginning and then people either buy it or they don't, or you kind of, you know, treat them as somebody who, if they want to stay, they stay, almost like a guest in your house, and they go when they're fed up with you.
Yep. Part of the thing that we do, and you'll hear this the more you're around me, I never talk about Sede clients. I talk about guests. Never do I use the word client. I treat people as a guest. Gratitude, union, example of my expertise, starts at first contact and timeless. One of the things that you need to do, and if Michelle's watching, she's supposed to ask me about mindset and mindsight. I might actually do this right now, and save Michelle asking me the question. Most people's mindset is on cost and value, time and money. What's it going to cost me in time and money? And value is almost in lowercase.
No, I'm more value. I do think about time as well, because I need to look after my time. I'm trying to balance a house here and a child and goodness what else.
I understand that. Everybody does. But the first thing that you've got to address is that 98% of the population, although that's been interrupted with everything that's happened, and not just the COVID thing, but the whole disruption to the way that we do life at the beginning of 2020 is very different now. So the mindset of most people is around cost, time, and money. So guess what? You've got a 98% chance of someone saying that if you lead with value, well, what's your cost proposition? I've got people that are telling me I should charge $100,000 for what I do. Yeah, okay. How am I going to help people who have got children that they're asking me for help for and other things that I can't go into right now? So one of the things that you need to do is understand, I get what you just said about I'm a value person. I understand that, but we're getting into mindset. Most people's mindset is on cost and time and money.
Yeah.
And if you don't lead with a dollar value, they think something's wrong. And they're the people that are out there trying to get you to put your email address in, because they're standing in front of a pool saying, if you give me your details, I'll teach you how to get one of these. And no one believes them anymore.
Yeah.
And no one really did. So what you need to do is actually have a sight, a vision of what you're in your head about what is the value that you're trying to create, and give momentum to that, understanding that 98% of people are going to slowly have to shift.
Yeah, I get that.
So one of the things you need to do is actually accept that that's true. Then you need to accept that, from my point of view, if we go back to what we said with Jairus's outcome is very, very focused.
Mm-hmm.
And as I've said often on the show, probably before you found out about us, and it may have been one of the two of the shows that you watched, most people are standing on the platform of life trying to get the train to stop and get everyone to come off the train, or get everyone to like as it flashes by. I'm looking for the 2% of people who understand what I'm doing. I don't care about the other 98%, because guess what? If there's 1 billion people online at any one time, and I once did this with Gary Vaynerchuk, who puts out a video and gets 300 views in 5 minutes or whatever, and I did the numbers on it. The number of people that are watching his video, assuming they're all watching it, is 0.00008% of who's online at any one time. And how many people would like to have the notoriety for the value conversion he could put if for want of the way he does what he does? So the end result is, if you had 2% of people that you deal with all saying, yes, I want to buy from you, for example, I want to buy into your value, you won't be able to handle it. So the very first thing you need to do is have a mind shift that if you're into value, I'm for you. If you're into time and money and price as the number one lead, I'm not for you. I'm not your train.
Yeah.
And then what you do, you get your mind, your heart, your confidence, your clarity, your confidence, and your creativity focused on this.
Yeah.
I have people mostly every week. Good old Trev, love him to bits, and I know he's watching in Western Australia. Trev's always saying, Steve, the commercial model, and I respect him for it, and I understand what he means, and the fact that he keeps niggling me about it, I love him for it.
Oh.
But what I'm doing with the commercial model is different to the commercial model that comes from the corporate world he comes from.
Yeah.
Having said that, though, I love him to bits, and I speak to him once or twice a week to get him to keep pushing me, to keep reminding me that it's there. Yeah. Because what you don't want to do is get so heartfelt about the value, you forget about the time and money you put in to be able to do your version of this.
Yeah, I get that.
So the very first thing is you need to make a mind shift that if these people are talking time, money, and price, they're not your train, forget about them. And guess what? 98% of people you're going to forget about, because they're still thinking it's an actual time and money pricing thing. But the good thing right now is there's a lot of people now opening their eyes because of what's happened around COVID. because of what's happened in terms of having to shift the fundamentals of how we work. The opportunity for heart-based, value-based businesses and value-based individuals running those businesses like you has never been higher, because the journey, who would have thought at the beginning of 2020 would all have to work from home?
No.
Now, there's a whole pile of discussion around that, but there's a portion of those people on the periphery of this circle that are now starting to be open about this. What you've got to do is 3 things. Number 1, be really value focused. Number 2, create content that is always exactly like, and you'll see this inside of Shifters over the coming weeks, that exit to entry strategy. And you're giving away and you're giving away and you're giving away very high value content. So you create, in fact, I did this with Michael. Hey, Michael, how you doing? Thanks for the time again. You end up creating yourself as a VAA, a value added asset in someone's life that's beyond their business. If Zara, if you want your business to be rock solid, you have to go beyond someone thinking of you as a product service provider and thinking of you as someone who's a product service advisor that can help me.
Yeah.
That's what you want. That's what you want to aim for. And the sentiment I can hear from you and all the different exchanges you had with Lou from the Angels about what questions should I ask and how should I do all of this, the fact that you put a post out asking people what question do you think I should ask him, that tells me you have a heart-centered value. Yeah. But maybe your background in the corporate world is so focused on this because you've had to, and I had to do that in my time back. In England, I was a corporate consultant, sort of, it was all about time and money and stuff, and thank God I moved out of that. So one of the things you need to do is, what is the value proposition of the content that you provide, which is in a very specific guide base, so you become a value-added asset to people.
Yeah.
And all the stuff inside of Soul Shifters is going to help you to understand how to do that. And if you look at the video I posted there yesterday about what's your brand expression in terms of experience, example, and what do they earn from it, go and watch that video, and a more detailed version of that's coming out. That was just a subset of what I did with Michael. So number 1, 98% of your engagement with people is going to feel as if it's not working. So what? Mm-hmm. So let me do this. Zara A, 98% of what you're going to do is going to feel as if you're failing, because people keep saying about the pricing model and you've got a block. That's good. People don't like the color blue, but my show's in blue. I don't care. Mm-hmm. I don't. So, and I don't say that disrespectfully. I know what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. And you know what you're doing, and some of the stuff I saw leading up to this. Number B, item B, is you need to make a mind shift that if those people say time and money, you're not my train. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks for the reminder. Yeah. Trevor on face value may not look like my train because he constantly tells me about you got to get commercial, got to get commercial, got to get commercial. But I love him for it, and I ring him up asking him to do it. He drives me mental sometimes, but I actively seek him, keeping me grounded in it. Otherwise, I could get so loving and heartfelt I'd disappear into the woo-wah of mindfulness and all that stuff, said respectfully. A, understand 98%. B, shift your mind. C, to producing high-value content and becoming a value-added asset by being able to story tell about what you've learnt from the shift from being a price model cost person into a heart-valued centered person. This is the game. You become a value-added asset in people's life, game on. And from all of the comments I saw very quickly this morning when I was going through all the different things, and I know you posted your question, I didn't read it, you'll notice I didn't like it. As soon as I saw this is my question, I didn't want to know because I want to do this on the spot. I liked everything else, and the reason I liked it is because the one thing I want you to do, this is your homework assignment, said very respectfully, my lady. I want you to go through the last half dozen posts that you've put out and read every single comment and pick out the words that touch your heart. And I know you're a clever enough lady that you're not going to glow in the accolades of people saying you're amazing. You're going to be looking, remember what I said to Jairus, what are they asking you for? What are they admiring you about? And you'll see the ones that the typical social media stuff where I appreciate you and they're just spitting it out as fast as they can. So hopefully you'll do it back to them. I'm talking about the ones that touch your heart and soul. And when you get that list of words, you start going, that's where my value is. That's where my content comes from. That's where I can create a value-added asset. And then bolted right next to that is the product and service that you provide. People don't care how much you know, but they want to know how much you care, and they'll invest into your sentiment before they'll invest into your product.
Okay.
Wow.
I think it's mainly around values, to be honest. I think it seems to be whenever I write a story and it sort of touches on humanity and anything to do with us all being equal, and that seems to be where it gets everybody. Just from the top of my head. But yes,
just expand on that. Gets everybody for a sec.
Well, I mean, I don't have to tag anybody, and I don't. Sometimes, I get confused about this tagging thing, because sometimes people like to be tagged, but then do you tag them for recognition? Are you tagging them to come and like your post? I've decided not to tag people anymore, and so I just see who comes. And
one of the things that Lou, who's the engagement director for Sede, does. Jane creates all the content awareness.
Yeah.
Lou distributes all the content engagement, which is part of the reason she engages with you to get on the show, etc. What we do with tagging, because we do tag, anyone that comments gets tagged. If you tag, we'll go, okay, cool. If you don't tag, we won't.
Right.
And what Lou will do is, if people have actually not responded to a couple of posts after they initially tagged, we take them off.
Right. Okay. That makes
cool,
sense.
because I'm standing on the platform of life, and if you look out the window and wave at me, Lou and Jane, the angels, are going to wave back with me helping them. But if you don't wave at us, we're not going to go, hey, by the way, tag. We don't. So for everyone watching, if you want to use tagging effectively with courtesy as a guest, if someone tags, tag them back. If someone stops tagging after a couple, stop tagging them. On the weekends, we put out content purposely, and we're doing Sede shorts that are coming out at the beginning of next week, which are 15-second cuts out of the show. And what it actually says is, if you find this, you were meant to. That's it. We don't tag anyone. Because how powerful it is if you found it and you go, wow, what a great line that is. Yes, and the universe sent you here. We didn't tag you. Be so confident in your ability to shift another one's soul because you actually discovered what's in yours.
So I've had people come along second, third removed from me, and then they saw something, probably because it was a hashtag or second or third removed. And it's mainly one of the stories that I've written, and it's about, something in my life that's happened.
Yep.
And it's kind of almost in a poetic fashion, to be honest. It gets people. It's either sounds romantic or it's humanity. That's what I mean by getting people, because people are coming and liking it, or it's getting me that additional, extra network, so it can grow more that particular day.
Stephen, sorry, and I got to jump in here, Zara, because I'm hearing something, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm just going to tell you, as a content creator, I've been doing this for 12 years of my life. This is how I make actually a living and pay for my house, is creating content. So I hear, and I could be wrong, but I hear you trying to figure out what to post. That's what I'm hearing. I should post this because I seem to be getting stuff when the blah, 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 blah. I'm going to tell you something from my experience. Let me just share my experience in life. 12 years of creating content. 12 years. Okay. And I used to be I still am a musician. It's like, I wonder what song someone wants to hear right now. I wonder what kind of song I can make that's a hit. I think I should write this. This is what seems to be out there right now. So I'll do that. Man, oh man, I'll tell you, you cannot be chasing what you think people might like. You got to put out content and create content that comes from you, only in service of you, in wanting to service other people. That's my opinion.
I get that. Stephen just asked me, sorry to interrupt. Stephen did just ask me, what kind of post do people like? Because I do post all sorts of stuff. And to be honest, do you know how I post? I wake up in the morning. If I've got a problem, or let's call it challenge, because nobody likes to call it problem these days. If I'm facing a challenge, I seem to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. And then I take 2 hours to figure it out. And then at 5 o'clock, I become creative, and then I write about it. And usually, if I wake up at 3, I know, gosh, I'm in for a long day here. We've got something to deal with. But usually, I wake up knowing exactly what I'm writing about.
Cool. Great.
So it's
Stay with that.
it's
Stay
some
with
kind of
that.
intuition, to be honest. But then
Stay
there
with
are
that.
other days where I just think, oh, you know, I just think of this song, or as I'm thinking about it, I just, oh, let's look up that song. And I post non-stop all day long, to be honest, sometimes, and sometimes I don't. You kind of, they say you should be consistent. I'm like, well, no, I don't like following rules. I've never have done. I feel like doing this. I'm going to do this today. And, you know, let's see
Follow
what
your heart.
happens.
Follow your heart.
Yeah, I do.
Michelle had asked me about this, and I wanted to say this because part of the reason why my first course is called Mindset Mastery is because what I'm going to do, and I've written it all out so we can do this a little quicker. Mindset is a specific expected target, and there's nothing wrong with mindsets, nothing. But people's mindset at the beginning of 2020 and in the last decade of corporate world is, what is the cost of the time and money of what I've got to do? In one sense, and there's many ways you can do it. Mindset is a specific expected target. In the Sede land, we talk about mindset mastery. And one of the things we talk about inside the academy is, how do you educate people? What is your story with sight? So sight is, to me, in the Sede land, vision. What is your story? What are you trying to illustrate? What glimpse are you giving people of your product, service, or even your content? What hope are you giving them, and what tactic are you taking away? If you've noticed on every one of my shows, I call them homework assignments and stuff, when I talk to Peter or when I talk to the angels, when I talk to anyone, even if I'm sitting in a coffee shop as I was yesterday and someone comes and asks me, what is it that you're doing? I scribble on a napkin and give them something to do. It's a tactic. Zara, when you tell your story, you create relatability. When you illustrate something in your life, you give people a vision of what could be in theirs. And Jairus, this is the same for you. When you give someone a glimpse of what your product, service, your story, what your hope that you're trying to illustrate, you give them something to interact with in the way that you were interacting with Peter just a few moments ago. Pete's talking about his music and how he does it, and you interacted back with him because he gave you a glimpse into what he does in his life. When you show someone hope, they can convert that to faith by the nature of the way you conduct yourself. And if you give someone a tactic, you give them something to actually dialogue with you about when they come back. So soul shots, for example, pick up your phone and shoot a video and do this. So people did it. Every single time I post, I'm giving people some type of tactic to do. Every single time. So mindset is a specific expected target. And for some people, they haven't actually realigned that their mindset needs to be adjusted, because our mindset in 2020, January 1, was, I'm going to do 5 days a week, 9 to 5, commuting in the morning, home and back. And guess what? That specific expected target got changed by an invisible force. Rightly or wrongly, all those types of things. Mindset mastery is your ability to relate to people in your story, give them a vision by what you're illustrating, interact with them by what you give them as a glimpse of something they can do, have the faith, give them faith by having a hope that you're there for them, and then give them some tactic in a dialogue. So everyone out there, gift from Zara, who stayed up so late into the night, thank you so much. When you're creating content, when you're creating copy for your content, when you're commenting, use a collection of these, but never, ever, ever, ever forget this one. Ever forget this one. Pete.
Wow. That's great stuff right there, Stephen. That's great stuff right there. And of course, yeah, triggered by Zara. I'm going to bring Zara back in a second here, as well as Jairus. I'm giving you a heads up, Jairus. I'm going to bring you back as well, my friend. I hope you're still there. That is so super important to, like you said, just how you engage with people, the kind of content you create, all that kind of stuff. And I'll bring Zara back on in a second here, but I just wanted to make sure no one heard differently there. There was no challenge to what someone's posting. I'm just sharing my own personal experience of, as a content creator, I struggle with that daily as well. And I always think, well, what should I post today? Or what I'm thinking about this, should I post that or whatever? All I'm suggesting to anybody who is looking to create content and trying to figure that out, it's the cliche. Unfortunately, I have to throw out a cliche. So you just gotta be you and just put it out there. And you know what, Stephen? What's really interesting about what Zara talked about pricing wise? Did not we have this conversation privately last week about someone who reached out to me and said, "Hey, I like what you do with that Stephen DeSadie thing, and can you push a few buttons for me? What would that be?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know where to start with it. How much does that cost?" I'm thinking like, oh God, I don't even know where to start with that question. But anyway, by the way, I'm not against that question. My point is like right away it jumps to price, and right away I'm like, oh God, if that's what you're seeing, you're just seeing price. I need to figure out a way to explain myself around that as well. So that to Zara's point about talking about pricing as being a block, for me, I'm the same thing. I can relate to that.
And same for me. And same for me. It's part of the reason Trevor kicks me about it all the time, and bless him for doing it.
Right.
Same for me. Same for me.
How much does that cost, Peter? How much that cost?
but the reason, well, and then people will turn around and say, oh, Steve, you should be charging 20, 30 grand for what you do. You're amazing and all that stuff. I go, okay, give me 20 grand for this conversation. I haven't got any money. And by the way, when was the last time you actually charged 5 grand for someone? And I know there's stuff like that out there and all those things, but there's a reason why the Tony Robbins and the Dean Graciosis are putting out courses for $59 and all that kind of stuff. The other thing is have some actual heart and sentiment for, you know, like a lot of the footballers and stuff here in Australia and even over NBA, these big fancy people driving around. Lewis Hamilton, bless him. They're getting paid a fortune to do what they do, while some people are watching them on a cable connection that's going to run out because they haven't got a job. So you need to be mindful that you're not out trying to cost what your value is when you haven't set your value. And that's the point. Set your value and people will contribute their value by the way they invest in it. As opposed to, this is what I cost, come and get it. That's a great concept if you live in a corporate structure that's used to paying you for time and money. Because if this was about time and money, we all wouldn't be working as entrepreneurs or small business owners. We wouldn't be getting up like Zara at 3 a.m.
Yes.
Thinking about things, because when you're working for the man or woman and you're getting a paycheck, you typically are not woken up at 3 a.m. because that's just not how it works.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to bring Zara and Jairus back in a couple seconds. Before we go, I just want to throw up a couple of quick more comments here that we have here. Let me just throw up a couple of things. 2% return in marketing is a massive number. 3% is usually unheard of. Okay. Thank you, Doug. Heart-based mind shift from Laurie there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Got to come on the show, Laurie. Lou, let's ask Laurie to come on the show with comments like that. Love to share some time with you.
There's Remarkable Steve. Of course, it's Remarkable Steve. Post your soul. Hey, post your soul. Hey, that's for creating content. Post your soul. I love that. I love
that's
that.
Graham.
Got a little throw out there. Okay, that was just yes, Peter. Mostly it's yes, Peter. Oh, from the heart, Peter. I appreciate that. Thank you. That's okay. Enough of that. That's enough of Peter. Thank you. I appreciate all those comments. So, Stephen, like again, the congruency part. This is why it still comes back to all of this. I mean, I love what Zara talked about. I mean, it comes back to content, how you express yourself, what you're posting, who you're commenting with. You talked about the people that you on LinkedIn might actually tag and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Really, really important to make sure that there's a congruency to how we present ourselves, all of us, by the way. So I just thought that was really interesting how you position that. Okay, let's bring back our guest.
Can I just say something to Zara really quickly? Zara, what you waking up and trusting your heart and just spontaneously creating content and spontaneously going to messaging that you want, all you need to do, because I get the impression because of the project stuff and some of the language and structure of how you were asking and inquiring about what happens on the show, and what you need to do is 3 things. You have this ability to be able to express yourself, and you don't like boundaries, you don't like rules. I'm going to do who I am, and I love that, which is great. What you need to do is apply that to the consciousness of your corporate background and start moving into the next part of what you're doing on the basis that someone could come across the dance floor and have something in common, be a great friend, and create the opportunity that's called your love affair with your child. I think it's beautiful. So what you should do is be mindful that corporate structure that you've got, don't trash it, but start dominating it.
Love that. Love that. Okay, so we're winding down to the end of the show, everybody. As the producer, I got to step in. I'm sorry about that.
Sorry.
So Jared, Jairus, I keep saying Jared. I'm sorry. You know, my really good friend of mine's son is Jared. I have him on my mind today for some reason. Anyway, Jared, but Jairus Tucker. So glad you stuck around, my friend. What we do at the end here, we always like to just go quickly ask for anything that you might have picked up throughout the show. Because when you come in, we're not really sure. I guess we're all really not sure how it's going to unfold. And it's always wonderful to hear at the end of it, maybe something that you heard or you got yourself while you were interacting with Stephen, or maybe something you heard throughout the show. Give me an aha moment that you might have had something from today.
Something that resonated very well with me is when Stephen said, okay, I understand where I'm at. It's okay to be where I'm at, and it's okay to understand that everybody may not be where I'm at, but I have to figure out a way to maybe even not bring. I think where I was messing up with is I think I was trying to bring everybody up to where I'm at instead of just helping them get to where their ed is, or where, I feel like I'm here, just bring them to up here in their universe or their reality.
Love that. Oh, that's a big one, by the way, my friend. That's a big one. Again, I think I heard you just say I was trying to bring them where I'm at, generally speaking, and now you're thinking I need just to elevate and amplify and lift them up to where they need to be within their own best selves, right?
Yes, sir.
I love that.
Yes, sir.
And it's going to be a good day tomorrow at work tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Zara, thank you so much for staying. My goodness, it's like in the middle of the night there. So thank you so much for bringing it here. Let me make sure. Have I got your microphone? Oh, there you are. Microphone.
I was going to say, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
We super appreciate it. So give us a quick little aha from either, the whole show or maybe from something you just chatted with Stephen.
Well, I never really thought about the corporate partnership with this model like the way I met my husband. So I suppose I'll think about that one. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was an interesting sort of parallel, right? I love the idea that he talked about, the opportunity, the friendship, and there's three things in there. But yeah, to kind of treat it like that, and
it's nice to know. It's nice to know that this thing in my head with this money block, because it's been such a puzzle for quite a while. And it's nice to know that it was something that wasn't quite right, that I haven't got this issue, because it is very confusing when you're sat in the middle there and you know what you want to do. And then there's all these other people telling you you've got this and this and this wrong with you. And you're like, I don't want to be told. No, go and ask yourself that question. Here's a test. It'll answer you. And I'm like, I've been a bit confused on that one, to be honest. But yeah, it's nice to have that reassurance. So thank you.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great insight. And for me, I'll tell you what I pulled out of, a lot of great things that I pulled out from today. Jairus, first of all, what I loved about what you brought was this vulnerability part of it, where you're just basically saying, man, I need to figure this out because I need to help people in a leadership role. And Stephen kind of painted it out for you. So the vulnerability part of how vulnerability plays in leadership. I heard that in your conversation. I love that. And the fact that you can embrace that now and say, like you said, I got to figure out how. I love that. And Zara, again, I'll just go back to the same old price point. I'm in the same boat. It's like what Stephen talked about, trying to figure out what my value is all the time versus trying to figure out what my pricing model is. And it's one of those things where, again, it's a deep dive into asking people that are closest to you of what they get from you to understand what your value is. I'm working on it. Listen, I talk to Stephen more than most people, and I still have not got this figured out. So there's no disrespect. Stephen has told me multiple times.
Baby steps.
We'll get baby steps. So that's what I got out of that. I appreciate that. So Stephen.
He seriously loves doing this to me, but anyway, we'll give it a crack.
I do.
We'll give it a crack. We're going to give it a crack.
Here we go.
There you go. Cool. Jairus, you said that awareness and for me, what you said as you were speaking, awareness creates a desire for you to grow you and others. So the fact that you're aware creates a desire to grow you and others, because what you already are consciously aware before this show is you know exactly what you are. You just now are aware of how you can be that for others. In terms of Zara, romance your life and love, because the blocks that you've had in the past now become the foundations for you to serve from. It's so powerful. It's so powerful to not resent people who just think you've got a block, but actually thank them because they've given you a foundation to build from. And honesty, Pete, your value is how you reflect your congruent truth. So be aware of the romance of who you are in your life and be honest with it. Grow you and others. Use the blocks of the past to be foundations of your future and reflect your congruent truth by being the best you.
Oh, my gosh almighty. Oh, I just love this part. This is my favorite part. I mean, it always is. It just is. And I just love the way you're able to kind of piece that together of awareness and romance and honesty, and just some of the things that we talked about. Does that resonate with both of our guests here tonight? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fantastic. Stephen, I love that. Zara,
Thank you so
Jairus,
much.
we
Wow.
can't thank you guys enough. We so
Awesome.
appreciate it. I hope you got something. Well, I hope you got as much as I did out of this. I always get so much out of this. And Zara, again, special prize to you for staying up in the middle of the night.
Beautiful. Thanks a lot.
We so appreciate that. And thank you for being on the show. We appreciate it.
And just before the both of you go, just fairly quick. Just before the both of you go, if there's anything in the next 24 to 48 hours, or ever, by the way, but particularly in the next 24 to 48 hours, record a short video to me inside of Soul Shifters and whatever it is you want to ask me. Don't direct message me. Ask everyone, because the collective of who's in there needs to hear from you. I mean, Nadia's stayed up in the middle of the night in Cape Town to hear from you too. So in the next 24, 48 hours, particularly, if there's anything of clarity that comes to you that go, I should have asked Steve that, send me a video inside the group and I'll reply.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Fantastic. So again, as you just mentioned something I think that maybe we should jump into a little bit, Stephen, which is the idea of the collective. We're using that language here on the show. So just if you can just very quickly describe this idea of the collective that you've built on the LinkedIn platform.
Yeah, one of the things that this is a flat out gift, the ability for people to ring up and ask me this stuff on the spot. It's a flat out gift. And I don't say that arrogantly, I say it humbly. So one of the things that we've done is we've created a thing called Soul Shifters Collective, and it's a group on LinkedIn, because I don't have the right to keep this from everyone. So the Soul Shifters Collective is a group for everyone where no one gets left behind. And you get in the group by actually coming on the show. And from that experience of the show, you then join the collective, and we're just building a community of people who are all soul-minded. So that's what the collective is. From inside that, I drop content from inside my academy and training, and Michael knows about that. There's round tables, and then it elevates up if you want to start investing in coaching in me. But the simple truth is this, and this is a message to everyone. What gift are you? Because the gift that I am is the ability to do this. I don't even know how I do it sometimes, but my gift is available to everyone. So the Soul Shifters Collective is a platform for everyone where no one gets left behind. And then from in there, if you want to do more with me, that's a separate issue. But no one can ever accuse me of not giving this away for free, because I never ordered this. It's just a miracle I have it. And my greatest desire with this gift is to gift it to you.
Oh, gosh, that's fantastic. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for describing that, because I think it's important that we're using language sometimes that if anyone's viewing for the first time, we're using it in context so they understand it, the collective that advanced to the movement. So everybody that we talked to today, we certainly so appreciate that. We did have one other guest that we will reschedule for another time, so we appreciate that. And we'll figure that out in the future. Stephen, again, you've built something on through LinkedIn. So I want to encourage everybody to reach out to the people that you've seen on the show today, people that are commenting on LinkedIn. You can find a lot of different people that either have been on the show or recommended, so on. It's a great, and I love the distinction. I was going to say community, but I know you're building this collective, and some people call it a community, whatever works, but it's a collective for everybody involved. So, Stephen, listen, I love it. I love the concept of congruency, alignment. I love the fact that we're talking about mind, voice, heart, wallet, and feet moving in the same direction. I really appreciate you digging in that for me today. So thanks everybody for watching. We'll do it again. And we're that close to LinkedIn Live, everybody. We're this close. Like it's so close. I'm telling you. And when it goes to LinkedIn Live, boom. Then we're going to have a real boom. We're going to have a real boom.
Boom.
Good to see you, Stephen. Thank you for everything, my friend.
Everyone. Bye.